Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Welcome back. In lecture 20, we will talk about waste storage. The different concepts that we will cover are on household level storage of segregated waste, bulk waste storage in public places, secondary storage. Case study, we will do two case studies. One is on stationary compactors in Kolkata and the other is for the city of Indore. So, all household level waste has to be stored in covered bins. That's the mandate given by SWM Solid Waste Management Rules from 2016. So, the rules state that bins for storage of biodegradable waste shall be painted green. Those for storage of recyclable waste shall be printed white, and those for storage of other waste shall be printed black. So, this is what as per the rules what it says. But because and accordingly, in most municipal urban bodies, wet waste is stored in green containers, dry waste is stored in white containers, and domestic hazardous waste is sometimes stored in black containers and or red containers, because it doesn't the rule doesn't specify domestic hazardous waste specifically. That's why some urban bodies adopt the red color container. And also, as per the collection system, that means this is how it is stored within a premise of a generator, but when it is being collected, that is, the collection agency can take this biodegradable waste in a green color container, but sometimes you will see that this dry waste is taken in blue colored containers also. So some differences are there, but this is what the rule states. Now, how do I determine the capacity of a waste storage container in my house? Now, there are different ways we can do that. The first different criteria that we can use to do that. The first criteria is the frequency of collection. That means if waste is collected every day, then obviously I will store the waste that is generated for one day. But if it is collected every 2 days, I have to make sure that I can store waste for 2 days, and then only I can dispose of it. So the container capacity would be almost double. Sometimes it's double, or sometimes it's a little bit less than double. And quantity of waste, so the quantity of waste generated per day by all the members of the household, that gives us for one day, and then based on the frequency we can determine the overall capacity of that particular bin. Now, for a household with 5 members, approximately we find that the container should be 12 to 15 liter capacity, which is like 0.015 meter cube, and this is for dry waste and wet waste separately. That means one container for dry waste, one container for wet waste, and each container of capacity 12 to 15 liters. And there has to be also consideration of spare capacity. That means sometimes the waste has to be collected every day, but for unforeseen reasons, sometimes it may happen that the waste is not collected on a particular day. So in that case, if I don't have a container, it would result me take the garbage outside and throw it inside in somewhere outside where it is not supposed to, and then use again the container for the rest of the waste. So that's why at least we should have extra capacity for 100% of that another day's waste. So that means 100% spare capacity has to be there. So in case of alternate days, that is, if the frequency of collection is every other day, either I can go for a larger bin, or we can go for multiple containers. That means either I can have one container for green waste, or I can have a large container of green waste which holds twice the capacity, or we can go for 2 containers of the same capacity of 12 to 15 liters. So that can also happen for the dry waste as well. And regular washing of wet waste bin. So if for the wet waste part, that is the biodegradable part, we should regularly waste the clean the container, because otherwise it will smell or it will create unhealthy conditions. And also sometimes we end up using plastic bags. To avoid cleaning this container every day, people put a plastic bag inside and then put waste on it, and then they carry this plastic bag to the waste collector. So that is a very bad practice, because you are adding plastic bag into that particular waste stream. So it's better to use the container directly and wash it every day after the waste is being thrown away. Now, special waste, including domestic hazardous waste, this has to be, as we have said, that it could be stored in red containers. Like as I was saying, that in some municipal areas also, green container is used for wet waste, blue for everything else, and hazardous waste can be taken up in red containers. Now, primarily, we have to completely segregate and store special waste separately, but we have to carry this waste. This waste is not collected in every municipal area or every urban local body. So in that case, we have to carry this waste to a special collection center or to a retail outlet where there is a special scheme going on for collection of this kind of waste. Like they are returning, but you can return batteries over there, or you can return some newspaper over there. So those kind of special schemes sometimes are run by some retail outlets. We have to either take our waste there, or a collection center can be set up by the municipal body or this ULB. The rule is, as per for every 20 square kilometer, there should be one domestic hazardous waste center. So we have to take our waste to that center and deliver it after certain times when this container gets filled. So that's how we have to also handle this domestic hazardous waste. So in addition to that, when we are talking about household level waste, that is or household level generators, there is also yard level waste or garden waste. That is, many houses have got gardens. So we should try to treat it on site. That means we can go for composting and all locally, or we use large standard containers for storage, and it could be collected by the municipal bodies after certain intervals. So that means we also have, if I don't want to do compost in my own garden, or we want to use it as fertilizer in my own garden, then I can keep it stored in a large container, and it will be collected by the municipality after certain intervals. For large gated communities and complexes where there are a lot of people staying together, usually an internal door-to-door collection system of is proposed. That means the community should have their own door-to-door collection system, and segregated waste has to be stored in community level bins. So that means the community level bins should also be have separate containers for storing different kinds of waste which are segregated. And bin design, now because now we are dealing with not one household, we are dealing with many households, the size of this particular bin should be large, right? So it's not only large, and because the size is much larger, it's difficult for an individual human to lift it. So it would be lifted by mechanical means, right? So the vehicles which would be sent by the municipal body will probably have a lifting mechanism which will lift this waste and then put it inside. That waste could be put inside that particular vehicle. Now, that means if the container has to be lifted, that means this container has to be of a standard size or a standard design, because otherwise it cannot be lifted, right? So obviously these are large size containers, and they has to be of a certain standard design, and then only they could be we can use a lifting mechanism. So typical design, if it's a small complex of 12 households, 60-liter tank, 60-liter bin is fine, which holds around 25 kilograms of garbage. For a complex with 24 households, it could be 120-liter or 50 kg bin. For a 48 households, 240-liter or 96 kg bin, and so on. So again, we cannot keep on increasing the size of the container. So in case there are more number of households living in that particular complex, we have to go for multiples of this particular sizes, right? So we can have many of those particular bins. So usually this kind of bins, you will find that they are made of high density polyethylene HDPE, and these are mostly made in such a manner so that these are durable, and they are also tested, and they are UV tested so that they are not, they prevent infection and all this. So as you can see that this is a 4-wheeled HDPE container. So this kind of containers you will see in many kind of large complexes, and also in case of bulk waste generators. So for individual waste generators we can use smaller containers, but for bulk waste generators who generate more than 100 kilograms of waste per day, we have to obviously use larger containers. So this include offices and institutions, hospitals and nursing homes. So bulk waste generators could be any kind of commercial or retail establishment, or a market, or a religious facility, or a sports complex. So these are all bulk waste generators, and we will have to put this kind of containers over there. So again, the containers could be of different colors based on what kind of segregation is done for that particular site. But it's difficult to have different colors, so we can put some signages as well to say what kind of waste it is holding. And the standard bin design as per the collection system, and the auto lifting by standard bin lifting devices on compactors or vehicles. So again, these are bulk waste, these are collected by the municipality using certain vehicles, and using these vehicles have got certain lifting mechanisms. So our design should be such that, our design of storage should be such that these are aligned with this kind of devices or this kind of vehicles, so that we can easily transfer the waste. Again, 4-wheeled HDPE containers and also galvanized iron bins, both are used. So these are even larger than this HDPE containers, and usually you will find that capacity ranges from around 96 kilograms or 240 liters to around 100 liters or around 495 kilograms of waste. So there are different, 1100 kilograms or 1100 liters or 500 kilograms of waste. So large, like very large containers like this can be also utilized, or small containers like this can be utilized. So it depends on what kind of vehicle, what kind of lifting mechanism is actually utilized. And also in here also we go for 100% spare capacity. So first of all, as per the collection frequency and the waste generated per day, we determine what should be the size of the container, and also we should have 100% spare capacity, similar to residential waste storage systems. Then along with this, community C&D waste, construction and demolition waste collection is also done in similar kind of bins, and these are again separate bins could be kept for construction waste as well. Now coming to waste storage in public places, the rule is this storage containers are provided at distance of 25 meter to 250 meter along streets. As per the context, like very important streets we can, or very busy streets, we can have it at 25 meters, whereas the streets are not that important or it's not that busy, we can have it every 250 meters. These are also provided at parks, markets, public places, transit areas, bus and railway stations, so that when people are walking along the street, if they need to throw something, they can throw it in this kind of garbage bins. So in this image you can see that this is the two containers of one green color for wet waste, and for other waste, papers and other kinds of material, dry waste, this is the blue color container. This is our architecture department at Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur. So we have this kind of two containers in front of our department. Similarly, over here you can see in indoor, dry and waste storage in a park is also is stored in this kind of container. Now once the waste is collected from your house by a vehicle, by using any kind of collection mechanism, it is now brought to a secondary storage unit, right? So that means once individual, in door-to-door collection, individual smaller wheelbarrows or smaller vehicles can bring the waste to a collection point, or which is known as a secondary storage, and from there the waste is transported either to a transfer station or to the final disposal points or the recycling centers and so on. So this secondary storage is where more amount of waste from the locality or that particular area comes in, right? So so this is one kind of storage, and the other is in some areas where there is no door-to-door collection system, we usually collect waste through community bins. So community bins are provided where door-to-door collection is difficult, and so those community bins also, every day people come, walk a certain distance from their house, maybe 100 to 250 meters, 100 to 150 meters, and then they throw their garbage in the community bin. So either this kind of community bins or the or these collection points in the neighborhood where waste collected via door-to-door collection, when it comes there, this kind of waste needs to be stored. So that means either we store waste in the community bins or at these transfer points or this particular secondary storage points. So the primary goal when we are considering storage of this waste in in the urban areas, the primary goal is to ensure healthy and hygienic environment for the users as well as the workers. So our community bin design or our intermediate storage design or secondary storage design would be in such a way so that they are healthy and hygienic. So there are different kinds of designs for this kind of bins or waste storage that is done. One is cement concrete bins, or it could be a masonry pit. So it's just an enclosure made of cement concrete, or it's a masonry enclosure where you create this kind of small wall around a particular area and people throw garbage inside it. Or it is also something known as a dhalao or a large 3-walled concrete structure as shown in this particular picture. So it's like a small room and people throw garbage inside. And then there are metal bins or containers as you can see in this particular picture. So these are the 3 kinds of containers you see in this kind of situations where people throw their garbage. So obviously cement, concrete and masonry bins are enclosures. These are difficult to clean and they remain littered and dirty most of the time. Why? Because people throw garbage, people don't want to go to the near to this particular areas, and they will keep on throwing the garbage to this particular enclosures or this kind of containers from a certain distance. Now, when they do that, obviously they will end up throwing the garbage which may fall in the enclosure or which may fall in the surrounding area, which causes additional litter. And the next person who comes doesn't even go to till that distance, he throw it from even farther away. So that keeps on increasing the area that gets littered, right? And it creates a very unhygienic and unhealthy or even aesthetically displeasing, environment. So in case of this kind of bins, like open bins and all, because people are throwing garbage from a distance, usually people don't put on the covers; they are kept open. But by rule, by law, we should have cover has to be applied, which is mandatory. So that's one problem. And all community bins should be also washed at regular intervals. Whatever material it is made of, it should be washed. And storage depots and container design should be compatible with primary and secondary waste collection vehicles. So that means if we are storing waste in this kind of a metal container, probably it should be in such a way so that this could be lifted by a vehicle or a lorry, and by the mechanism, that chain mechanism they have got, they will fit the chain to this particular container, they will lift it and they will put it on the lorry and then take it to the final disposal point. So that means the design has to be compatible with those kind of mechanisms. So metal containers are usually preferred in today's context instead of this cement, concrete or masonry bins or dhalaos, because these are easily lifted through mechanical means and also reduces manual and multiple handling of waste. That means as you can see over here, lot of human agency is involved where they have to clean this area, they have to shove the garbage. But in case of metal containers, people throw the garbage inside, they could be directly lifted by a lorry, so people don't have to handle the garbage or handle the waste. So as you can see in this particular image, a primary collection vehicle, that is this one. This is a small auto rickshaw with a tipper at the back. So this is where it is collecting waste from door to door, and then it is coming to a secondary storage and putting this garbage inside this particular container via this tilting mechanism. So the primary collection has to be designed in such a way so that this tilting is possible, or the design of the metal container should be such so that when the vehicle comes and tilts it, the garbage could be easily transferred to this particular metal container. Similarly, from secondary storage to compactor, that means after the waste is stored in this particular secondary storage container, then it needs to be put up into this compactor vehicle which will take the garbage to the landfill site. So over here also you see the garbage is this bin is lifted, and the design of this bin should be such that this lifting is done very easily. So this is what has to be considered when we design this secondary storage. So typical design is something around 1100 liter capacity for 4-wheeled bins or containers. They are lifted through using this the compactor units like over here, or 3000 to 7000 liter capacity metal containers. So these are much larger in size. These are lifted using dumper placer system. Like in the earlier one, the container that we showed, it is, we fit hooks and chains to this particular, or we can use a lifting mechanism attached with the truck, and we can lift that particular container. And it could be used by this dumper placer system, or sometimes even a hook lift container of 8 cubic meter or larger, which are multi-purpose bulk waste containers, which we can use this hook lift mechanism also to lift the waste. So these are different designs of waste containers for secondary storage, which could be adopted as per the requirement or as per the collection mechanisms of that particular area. So in case of secondary storage, earlier we were talking about 100% spare capacity because it was a residential area or a bulk generator, so it's fine. But in case of secondary storage, where waste from many areas come, there the chance of more amount of waste being stored is higher, right? In case of some area, waste is not collected, so we need to have more extra excess capacity. So around 200% of average daily expected waste storage is actually taken as the spare capacity. So that means normal average daily expected waste storage requirement, we take double of that, and that's the capacity that we design for this kind of secondary storage system. Maintenance wise, cleaning at least once a month, painting at least once a year to prevent corrosion, particularly for metal containers, and replacement of broken parts as per requirement. And periodic inspection of depot flooring, screen walls every 3 months. So secondary storage is not only the container but also the area which is where the container is placed, or that enclosure where garbage is being thrown. So there also periodic inspection of the floors, screens, walls, all these are also conducted every 3 months. And secondary storage of street sweeping for silt from drains, for that also we have to provide separate storage containers where this waste from, or this silt from drains, which are, once drain cleaning is done, this silt are lifted and put on the side of the road. So this could be collected by our waste collectors, and they can be also stored in some separate containers. Why separate containers? Because this kind of waste is can contain a lot of pathogens, because it may contain some amount of sewage, and it's better not to mix this waste with the other waste, because those may be going to the composting plant, or they may be going to some recycling facility. So it's better to keep this waste separate. Now coming to 2 case studies. The first case study, we will talk about compactor units in Kolkata. So in this image you can see this is one compactor unit. It's just a storage container with this arm where people can come with wheelbarrows, and they can tilt the wheelbarrow into this particular arm, and this particular mechanism where the garbage is stored, and this is lifted and put directly inside the compactor. Then the compactor is, some units of this compactors are stored in this particular enclosure, and as per the space available and all, the compactor sizes could be determined. So the number of compactors that are utilized is like always one should be there at site, so that whatever vehicles are bringing in garbage could directly deliver the garbage into those compactors. Another one can be in the transport, that is, it is being carried over to the disposal site, and one could be spare capacity. So in that way we can design the number of compactor units in a particular secondary storage collection point, secondary storage point. So this project in Kolkata was taken up during the year 2012 by Kolkata Municipal Corporation under the Kolkata Environmental Improvement Project, which was funded by ADB. And this project improved collection efficiency and the transportation as well, because these are covered containers, there is no spillage of waste and so on. And also, as you can see, that it's seamless transfer of the primary collection, waste that is collected via primary collection. It is seamlessly transported, put inside this container, and then it is these compactors are then transported via lorries and so on. And these compactors are fitted with hook loaders, so that using these hooks, these are lifted into the lorries and all, or the transport vehicles. So in Kolkata, 78 sites were selected under the JNNURM program, and based on the available space and waste generated in the service area, custom designs were created for these compactors, and then the compactors were ordered, and then they were developed. And tip cart mechanism for manual feeding, like over here, the cart is being tipped. This mechanism is there where you can put in garbage. Wheelbarrow feeding and 1 to 2 meter cube auto tippers could be also utilized. That instead of wheelbarrow, also we can use this automatic the vehicles with auto tipping mechanism, like we showed one example in the previous slide, where the back portion tips automatically. So these are compatible with both kind of designs. Enables transportation of waste in closed containers. Littering is stopped at secondary storage site. Allows night transportation, because in the morning all these are collected, and in the evening, because we don't require any kind of manpower, just the vehicle comes in, use the hook lifts to lift this particular compactor and transport it. Seamless integration with primary collection system, as we can see over here. Design as per available area, training and capacity building of the staff to operate this kind of mechanism. So this is a very successful case of secondary storage, and of course, the collection system for this particular in Kolkata. Then coming to the case study of Indore. Indore is the cleanest city in India, and the reason for it is they do very, proper segregation of waste at source. Now, initially in this particular city, it was a 2-bin system, where biodegradable waste was kept in green and non-biodegradable waste was kept in blue. And this is as per Swachh Bharat Mission rules and all. And then in 2017, what they did was they found that people are, following these rules. They are putting waste, they are doing proper segregation and all. So they thought that why we take this further, right? So they suggested, further segregation of this non-biodegradable waste into sanitary and hazardous waste, and this was done as per the Swachh Survekshan toolkit. So this was some policy document which came out, which suggested for getting some sort of points for this kind of system, you need to even segregate sanitary waste and hazardous waste. So that's why the ULB also introduced this kind of a system. So this was even accepted by the public, and of course there was a lot of awareness campaigns that was taken up, trust building sessions, and also they did some. So these are like the positive. These are the positive steps that they have taken, or these are the steps which actually helps encourage people to do segregation further. But they also had some deterrents as well. For example, this unsegregated waste was not collected. That means that's the deterrent. That means if you don't unsegregate, we will not collect your waste. So that's why people were made to segregate waste, right? So some on their own, they have done it. People who don't wish to do it, they were made to do it by making this mandatory. So over here, you can see that the current segregation practice in Indore is to have biodegradable waste, non-biodegradable waste, which excludes plastic, then plastic waste in separate container, sanitary waste, domestic hazardous waste, and e-waste. So these are all separate waste. These are being collected by the municipality. And if you remember from our earlier lecture, we have talked about the case of Goa, Panaji as well. So there also a lot of segregation is being done, but this is done over here in the collection stage itself. This kind of segregation is in the primary collection stage itself. Indore is doing this kind of segregation. And because of this segregation, this enables further waste processing and resource recovery. And you can see this particular primary collection vehicle where biodegradable, non-biodegradable, domestic hazardous, electronic and sanitary waste is collected in different containers. Green for biodegradable, blue for non-biodegradable, this black is for domestic hazardous waste, blue is for e-waste and yellow is for sanitary waste. So this is how they have designed the system. So in addition, litter bins were placed all across the city, which is blue and green colored litter bins. So that we have shown in public places, we need to have these two colored containers at certain intervals. And during the pandemic, they introduced a new yellow bin for mask and glove recovery. So in addition to the blue and green bin, they introduced a new yellow bin where people can throw their mask and gloves which are hazardous. So this is for sanitary waste. We use the yellow color and accordingly this bin was introduced. So over here, door-to-door collection system is employed when garbage is less than 50 kilograms. And for the rest, bulk waste generators, a separate system is being followed. That means door-to-door collection is done by primary collection system. And this is for generators who generate less than 50 kilograms of garbage per day. For other generators, instead of 100, they are considering 50. For bulk waste generators, they are proposing a separate system for collection. So overall, if you can see, they are using different kinds of containers, different kinds of storage mechanisms for different categories of waste, and every ULB is different as per the the vision of that particular ULB, as per the recycling, this contracts or the recycling arrangements that they have got with different recyclers or other agencies. Different ULBs determine what sort of segregation needs to be done, and accordingly for that kind of segregated waste, we have to also provide storage containers. So these are some of the references you can study. So to conclude, MSW storage container sizes depend on the collection frequency and the quantity of waste generated, and containers needs to be of standard sizes and are cleaned and maintained regularly. Thank you.